Hi, everybody. It's Deirdre Fay, and I have been crazily, really, that's what it feels like, getting ready for these two webinars that I'm going to be teaching this weekend. You know, there seems to be something in the air, maybe. I'm not sure what it is, but people have been writing and telling me about how activated they are, that there are so many things going on in life that feel beyond their control, and they're getting thrown inside themselves and upset and triggered a lot. And so when I started hearing this a couple months ago, I decided I was going to just do whatever I could to help people, be less triggered. And really what that involves is learning how to have a core self inside that's unshakable, that's resilient. But I was talking about this actually with Chris Germer recently, who, as many of you know, is part of the mindful self-compassion teachers. He's one of the people who created it with Kristen Neff. And we were talking about how if you don't know what's going on inside, you don't know what's going on inside. You don't know how to name all as many pieces inside. And I realized that after having put my life back together again after 30 some odd years ago, and helping people do this on a consistent basis, that I do know that way. And it feels like it's my calling, my purpose. I want to help. I don't want people to be left in that distraught state. So what I decided to do was put together a webinar called the Unshakeable Core. How do you build that? How do you cultivate? How do you live inside of that? And then also I'm doing one about clearing your past so that you can actually live in the present. They kind of go hand in hand. And one of these is like going to be totally new material. I think that I haven't really taught many places before. So I'm really hoping you'll join me, and I'll put the link down below. It's dfay.com/ this one, right? The one that goes like that, solution, but I'll type it so that you have it. Because it's so important to me that we all know how to live inside and have some inner solid ground so that we have a platform inside that doesn't get disrupted. One of my great teachers as I was growing up is what I was going to say. When I lived at the yoga ashram back in the 80s and the 90s, Dina Bandhu, Pat Sarley, and I were talking recently, and he said to me, it's not that we ever don't have issues again or problems that happen, but what happens is when we begin to see, oh my gosh, here's the ditch coming. We may not be able to stop ourselves from falling into the ditch, but we know how to get ourselves out of the ditch more easily. And that's a great benefit of practicing and having skills that we use over and over and over and over and over again. Actually, what just came to mind was this horrible experience I had when I was doing my training for my license, and I was in New Jersey where I was doing my training, and I was going back to Kripalu actually to teach there and do an intensive, and there were 150 people coming for this workshop. So I had all the stuff that I love to have there ready with me. And I stopped in New York on the way to Kripalu, which is halfway between or so. And I stopped there to have dinner with a friend of mine, and I had left everything in the car. And when I came out, my car had been broken into and all my stuff was taken. And I had to go from there to get my car fixed and also go and lead this workshop for 150 people. And I remember just being so rattled, but also at the same time, so incredibly surprised. I'm not sure what the right word is. Grateful that I could actually sit inside my own skin. I could be with what happened. I had friends who gave me clothes, did all, because at that time I was anyway, long story, but so I had all the stuff that I needed, but it was more important that I could be inside my own skin in a way. be in my heart in a way that I could keep being in the presence of other people and sharing my heart despite this horrible rupturing experience that had happened. And that really was a key way of understanding how important just building practice after practice over time that lays down this inner ground, so that when life falls apart, and it will fall apart for all of us, things are going to go wrong, bad things are going to happen, we're going to get disrupted, our old wounds are going to come up and blow up in our face. This will happen. We can guarantee that that's going to happen. So the question is, how are we going to be with it? How are we going to hold ourselves? Are we going to blow up at other people, or can we be inside our own skin and make more space and more space and more and not lose ourselves in the process, right? That's what's so important. So those are the skills that I want to be sharing with you. I'm going to share some on the webinar. I'm going to be inviting you to take a course with me that I'm doing, which is all about building a foundation inside so that you can really be there with yourself when things go wrong. Because one thing we do know, and the research shows, that if we're practicing it over time ahead of time, then when it happens, whatever it is, it doesn't make it as fierce or overwhelming. So that's critical. So let's see, what else do I want to know? When you go to dfa.com/solutions, there's going to be two options. There's one for the Unshakable Core webinar, and that's really for everybody. And then I'm also doing this webinar for professionals called Clearing the Past. And the reason I'm doing that is because sometimes we want to go a little bit deeper. And so if you have the background for it, or you're working with clients, then that would be a good way to do it. But that one link will take you to both, and you can check out both options. And what I really am committed to doing, is finding ways to help you so that you don't have to go through the same torturous experiences that I did, that you can do it faster, quicker, and easier, and that you can do it with help. When I was doing it back in the 80s, I think there were 2 articles written about mindfulness, meditation skills, and trauma, and that was it. That was it. There was nothing that connected the 2 dots. So I had to start from scratch. I had to put all the pieces together. Now we have a lot more data out there, a lot more thinking about it. And what I've done is pull together all my years of experience, all the research I've done, the books that I've written, all the thinking, and created some easily accessible, simple to use practical skills. I mean, one of the things people tell me that I'm so good at, and which I love to do, is help people take a big idea, or even any idea, make it smaller and smaller so that it's easy to take the next step, whatever the next step is. And when we take a small enough step, instead of trying to leap to something big, that next step actually feels like, feels so simple and easy, and it's effortless, and we don't find the resistance in ourselves to do it. So this is all the work that I've done to consolidate it and integrate it so that I can share it with you. I do hope you'll join me on the webinars. And yeah, I'm just really excited to share it all with you and look forward to it. And thanks for joining me here. Oh my gosh, I have to get my glasses on to read what people are saying here. Thanks, you guys. Gwen is saying, I believe adding self-compassion. Absolutely, and that's a core piece of what we're going to be talking about. Gwen is saying, if we blow up at others, and we might, even if we do not want to, that we not shame ourselves. Oh my God, isn't that the truth, right? And certainly I know that from the years of having lived in a internally shame environment, just overwhelmed with shame, hijacked by shame all the time, that I had to learn how to find my way through. And I'm going to talk about that in the first webinar, about ways to do that, because I really came to see that shame is an attachment wound. And the reason why we suffer so much with shame is that we have these normal, natural needs, and they've been made wrong. People have made them wrong. We have felt wrong. It's been painful what we do to ourselves about what's normal and natural. So I'm going to demystify all that and help just